Welcome to another episode of New Game Plus. My name is Jason, and you're watching us on C31 or YouTube/New Game Plus TV. Good to have you back. And this episode's a little bit, everybody's kung fu fighting. I mean, it's an old meme, but it checks out. We've got DOA and we've got Mortal Kombat 11 both being reviewed in this episode, as well as a mailbag segment. We read your questions to us. It goes on a little bit of an interesting non-gaming tangent this episode, but that's okay. It's still good fun. We hope you enjoy. But for now, something completely different.
So one of the news changes you can expect from New Game Plus and what we're doing going forward is a bunch more podcasts and blogs. So one thing that we've lacked in the past, just because we've been focusing so much on TV, is doing a bunch of this extra content that people want to see. So Jared and I have completed our first podcast. You should be able to see that up on the website at the moment. We're going to keep doing them once a week, just a quick kind of 10-15 minute news wrap, bit of a discussion about all those points. It's on Facebook and YouTube. They'll be live, and then we'll be releasing them as podcasts later down the track. But that's on course on top of all the other great stuff we do. So we've got Twitch, we've got YouTube, we've got a bunch of all this other great stuff that we do. But I guess the big thing is, what do you actually want to see from us going forward? Like, would you like to see more podcast content? Would you like to see more, would you like to see less gaming content, or all the other stuff? I know that we go a little bit political in New Game Plus. I'm not, we do that, just a tiny bit. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys actually want to get out of it. So make sure you hit us up in our mailbox segment. We'll actually have our first mailbox segment in one of these episodes as well. So it's going to be great to see you guys engage with us. Let us know what you want to get out of what we're making. But I think you'll enjoy the podcast anyway. So check it out, newgameplus.tv, and don't forget YouTube and Facebook/NewGamePlusTV.
So Dead or Alive 6 has come out recently, and it's always been an interesting series. Even when Itagaki started it, Tomonobu Itagaki, of course, the creator of the series, hasn't worked on the series for probably about 10 years now, and it's continued in his stead, but it's always been known for a certain issue, and that issue, of course, is the over-sexualization of characters. And while, especially in 5, a lot of the costumes were particularly risque, and they've always had the old memes and the old jokes, it takes away from what is probably the most accessible 3D fighter in the scene. And it really is the most accessible. It's a very simple concept. It's 3 buttons, so you've got punch, kick, and guard, and then combining those will do not necessarily special moves, but will make different moves happen. And as far as the attack triangle goes, it's a simple attack triangle. Punch beats hold, hold beats throw, throw beats. It works real simple. I said that in the wrong order, but it doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying. The actual mechanics of the game are really simple, and the game itself looks great. It plays really fluidly. It plays really nicely. But the main issue becomes the fact that it has this stigma surrounding it. And it's a real shame because, again, I still think it's really accessible, even with the addition of the meter system in the newest game. Now each fighter has their own meter. They build up meter as they take damage / distribute damage, and that increases your offensive and defensive moves. You can use it to set up combos, you can use it to do super moves, or you can use it to do break holds, which is basically defend any hit in the game. So it offers a next level of strategy that the game previously didn't have, and yet it's still really accessible. The issue is always the stuff that surrounds DOA. And this time it's kind of come two-pronged. It still has those accusations against it as this kind of sexualized fighter, and I think to their credit, they've toned it down a lot, especially in the base game, toned that stuff down a lot. And it was always the extended costumes that drag that stuff out further. But the other issue is the way that it's actually been launched. It launched really bare bones, without online lobbies, with a lot of the way that you unlock costumes being particularly, it was particularly grindy, and you weren't even grinding necessarily costumes for the characters that you like, something that it actually shares in common with Mortal Kombat. So I still think it is probably the most accessible fighter out there. It's great fun to play, and if you can really enjoy it and look past a lot of these issues that to me have been sensationalized a little bit, there's still an enjoyable fighter under it. But with that said, I've decided to bring in Matt to discuss some of the issues surrounding that, as well as with Mortal Kombat. Matt, thank you for joining me.
I had to listen to all of that.
You did.
So thank you.
So that's all right. It's good. You just ruined the stagecraft of television. No one had to know you were sitting there. They could have snuck on and.
Actually, I did. Yeah,
okay.
Let's go with that.
Yeah,
Continuity.
it's ninja. Yeah.
Yeah, ninja in.
So I guess that is the big thing with DOA. Obviously, the most popular 3D fighter at the moment has to be Tekken. It's always been kind of Tekken, Virtua Fighter were the two most well-known 3D fighters, I'd say. Then probably Soul Calibur and DOA in that kind of next tier. And it's always been a Tekken-dominated world, but like DOA, I still think gets a lot of a bad rap that it doesn't necessarily deserve. You know what I mean? Like I think obviously it plays very differently to Tekken, but there is still that issue. There is still that kind of overwhelming kind of like mindset against it that it is that hypersexualized fighter. And I
Again,
don't know how they shed that.
A lot of the stigma, and it's this weird thing where it's still highly stigmatized in a way that you've got the over-sexualization.
Yeah.
A lot of steps have been taken to mitigate that a little bit. You'll never truly dissipate that. You'll never sit there going like, well, you know, if you wanted a fighter like Dead or Alive that isn't sexualized, you have Virtua Fighter.
Yeah.
There's that option. People still aren't playing it.
Yeah.
But then again, you've also got cases where Tekken, where certain characters will have stuff patched in, like Tekken Tag Tournament 2 had bikini and swimsuit DLC, no controversy whatsoever. People at Team Ninja and Tecmo do that with Dead or Alive, everybody loses their goddamn minds.
And that was a conversation I was actually having with some of the Tog boys about it, was how Tekken seems to have, because it goes far more down that path of being a legitimate 3D fighter, seems to avoid a lot of these controversies, and yet it's prone to making some of these decisions as well, where it'll do like, we'll do bikini DLC, some of the costumes would be risque, but it's not known for it. It's not quite as overt about how it does it. I guess perhaps that is the difference. But I still think, especially in 6, they've really tried to clean up that image a bit. You know what I mean? And really, it is those. There is the core demographic that will still buy those costumes. Do you know what I mean? Like that is the hard part of it. So you can buy the core game and never have to buy a single costume on top of that. The problem is you do have to buy characters, and that's always that kind of the argument of you still want the extra actual content, but how do you do that without separating it from this stigma that surrounds it?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that like this is the current climate of fighters as well, where you have people releasing seasons and seasonal passes where you trickle out all these contents of new characters, new stages, new music and stuff like that. But the thing with DOA and Tekken is that everyone draws that comparison of like, well, if Tekken can get away with not sexualizing their characters as much, but I feel it's more of like an apples kinds of oranges situation, where I feel that with DOA 6 and DOA 5, there's been a lot of steps taken, as I mentioned before, to kind of clean up that act a little bit. Not in the sense of all the characters have boring costumes now, but it's more of a case of they're leveling the playing field where some of the male characters are actually getting some pretty skimpy costumes. And that's something I like. You'll never truly stamp out, and again, I'm very sex positive in the sense, funny enough, I'm very sex positive in the sense that, you know, you can have characters, you can have cheesecake, but as long as you have beefcake to go along with it, I think that's the perfect world.
Well, but again, that's assuming everything exists in a vacuum, and that's always the issue with that kind of conversation.
And everyone has different views on it. Everyone will sit there going like, oh, this isn't good enough, or maybe this is good enough. This is the middle ground. That middle ground's not good enough.
And I think when we get to that point, we will be the truly enlightened society that we hope to be. But I'm not convinced we're quite there yet. But I guess the big question, and you brought up a really good kind of tangent from that, is you have DOA, which has this issue with sexualization. But like, and so if you put that on, the Evo Japan stream, suddenly it's, you're not at Evo.
You also got to learn to read the room as well.
That's true.
There is a
but the Japanese loved it. That wasn't the issue. That was what I'm saying. This is so the Japanese were fine with it. It wasn't those that was the issue the whole time. It was the Americans had the issue with it. But Mortal Kombat's fine. You can rip the heads off people.
Again, we talk about just how violence is glorified within America, and then you've also got cases where sexuality is also glorified a bit in Japan as well. Some spots it's really progressive, some spots it's regressive. But I've also got to think about it as well. Like if you were to remove a lot of that core component out of DOA, like a lot of the personalization of certain characters, like Christy being the standard femme fatale, and also. Now, this is my favorite girl in the series, but Neo Tengu, in the sense that her identity is based around being really sexually suggestive and sadistic and cheeky. If you were to remove that, you've removed a lot of that identity that makes Dead or Alive Dead or Alive.
And even then, like the resolution of her story with Brad Wong is that they both decide, let's go find the divine sake and get drunk together. And there's not even like any particularly sexual overtones. It's just like, he's as much of a degenerate as me, so let's drink together. And like, I can appreciate that more than just a straightforward like, tee-hee, here's my boobs. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like the kindred spirit kind of thing, especially with Asuka and Lily in Tekken, where they're kind of like, we hate each other's guts, but that's what makes us so drawn to each other as kindred spirits. So again, it's very similar to that kind of theme. I know, story and fighting games, but there's little things that you can sit there and go, this is what makes this game this game.
Yeah, these cool, that's always been my favorite part of fighting games in general, is those cool interactions at the start. And that's one thing NRS nails, is those, here are these two characters that have this story, and the thing is like, oh, what are you doing here, bro? Like, those things have always been my favorite part of fighting it. So, look, as much as anything else, I think DOA still has its stigma. It's got a long way to go in fixing a lot of those things, but I still think it's a good game under it all. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I say it's fair to say.
Well, I'm very happy to say that we have our first mailbag segment after all the questions and times that we've put it out there. I've been using my little brown pen. Look at his little hands. So I've decided to bring Megan and Matt / Carty on to discuss stuff about the mailbag. Thank you guys for joining me.
This set is fresh. I'm very happy
Cool,
to be
is it?
here. Yeah.
And like I did in the promo video, you can pretend you're a kaiju, just like. Brrr.
Yeah, Cityscape is definitely feeling the vibes right now. Melbourne.
How about you,
CBD.
Carty? Hey, whoa.
What'd you do to the other set?
Yeah.
It's fine. It's
That other set had a family. It was
It's
2
di-
days from
it's
retirement.
different now.
What
It's
did you do to it?
You're just gonna have to relax. You're just gonna have to calm down.
This is exciting. We have fans that want to know about us and our lives.
And we've got two good questions. One is a more straightforward gaming question, and one is I liked it, so I wanted to use it.
Bring it
right?
on.
And I think that it's gonna be so. The one thing that New Game Plus is known for, in it, especially inside of our circles, is for being karaoke tragics. We do it probably once a month, group of at least kind of 6 to 10 of us.
yeah, it's our culture.
It's our culture, yeah. So we're known for that. But one of the questions that came up in the conversation I was having was, like, what song are you sick of hearing? What would you ever, like, if you were to go to because we use the Japanese Cyberdam systems, and the licensing in Australia is different to Japan. So
Right.
the Japanese one has a lot more songs, a lot more than you used to. If you could remove any song from karaoke / never hear another song at karaoke again, what would that song be?
This is opening the floodgates. Like,
Yes.
I don't know.
It's a bit of a can of worms,
Yeah.
don't you think?
I've got a list. I've got a list there. Do you want me, should we go through the list first?
We definitely asked
okay.
the rest of the team, didn't we? So we
Yes.
got everyone's votes in.
As many people as we could ask to do it.
Yeah.
If we were doing a Game of the Year list, there is a clear winner, and the clear winner is, of course, Bohemian Rhapsody. That's Jodie in the background yelling out. To,
She says
yeah.
boo.
There
She's
was
got
a-
signs, it's fine, yep.
There was a lot of votes for
heckling
it,
in
and
the
I
background.
can't help but agree. Sorry, Jodie.
So
Yeah, it's
it must be
awful.
said, though, that Liam's friends have a good sense of humour because they made him a playlist that was purely different versions of Bohemian Rhapsody and sent it to him because he hates the song that much.
Shit, mates. That's awful. I would disown them and never see them again.
There was a couple, I'm told there was a couple hundred songs on that playlist.
You call them friends, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
does
Just
that
making sure.
exist?
So
Why does that exist? It actually blows my mind that there are
Look,
that many remixes.
yeah, look, but I mean, people don't like to do anything. Though Jamie did say another good one on top of that,
Sure.
which was Wonderwall.
Oh.
And I could go the rest of my life without
Man.
hearing Wonderwall,
I
especially a
actually
bad
10
rendition.
drinks down to get Wonderwall, even on the list.
Yeah.
That is like, I can't remember the night and I'm just dead inside.
It's night's over.
Yeah.
Wonderwall is the end of the night.
My vote is Let It Go. Get rid of it.
Yep.
I'm done.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah,
like,
and I'm
of all
sad
the
for the
of all the
sequel
crap
coming
Disney
out.
songs you could sing, like
yeah. Anything from Moana, you know it.
Oh, Jesus.
It's just been
I don't
so
know.
overdone.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I don't know. I do like You're Welcome because The Rock is obviously known as the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. Wait, voiceover entertainment.
La la la
So,
la la. Yeah.
yeah.
The rest of the list. Let's go through it.
Cool.
And we'll come back.
Yep.
Nas said Cruel Angel ceases, which means he hangs around weebs when he goes to karaoke, because that's the only reason you would say that, we don't want the theme song for Evangelion being sung.
Wow.
It's kind of your own fault, really, because I like it in moderation. Like, if you eat ice cream cake way too much, that's your own fault.
That's
Come
right.
on, man, ice cream
Yeah.
cake's pretty good. Like, that's a bad example.
It's a beautiful metaphor. I think that's really very
Well, I mean,
visual.
now what Jason just said, I'm not too sure anymore.
Wolfie said Piano Man, which is fine because
Yeah.
there's better Billy Joel songs there. Like,
I want to
like-
cry. This is just bring back some serious PTSD.
Yeah, we'll just be. All you do then is just sing the Spider-Man, the Weird Al version when that comes on. Like that's the easy way around that. Trey from the Tog Boys said Basket Case, but I think he extends that to Annie Green Day. He hates Green Day,
Fair.
and his justification was fine because we always joke that we both hate Pearl Jam, right? So, and not that we hate Pearl Jam, it's just that like
bit
they're-
whiny.
like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the same thing, right? So, like it's a genre that he doesn't like, so that's fine. But like Green Day is like a bad example of a genre he doesn't mind. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like a washed out version. And I'm like, I can understand, especially come American Idiot, but before that, man, they got some good fun songs.
I feel, I get Nookie's great, but I feel that with Trey's a very special kind of contrarian in the sense that I'm gonna cop it for this. He's a very special kind of contrarian in the way that I feel that Green Day was the mainstream band of choice
Yeah, it
for
sucked.
a lot of that
I was
subculture.
in school at 2002, and every end of school song was fucking Time
Time of Your Life. That was
Yeah.
my
Oh
year 6
my
graduation.
It was
God.
either Vitamin C or
Yeah,
Green
Vitamin
Day.
C.
Yeah. What Mish did say plug in baby, but that's only because we go with Trey and the Crew all the time, and so like that's one where
I
he's like,
sometimes
let's
let
loose. Yeah.
Everyone has that one song that they
They just let
loose on.
loose. Yeah,
let him
yeah.
have it. It's okay. Like there's a lot of screaming. That's fine. But
Why
Jodie's
has
in-
no one said Living on a Prayer yet?
No,
Am I the
but
only
Bon
white girl
Jovi's
that
okay.
Yeah.
Bon Jovi's
Whoa,
okay.
he really isn't.
Oh my! Look.
You asked for it.
This is to do with any of the scandals? No, I won't
Yeah.
go there.
All of the
That's fine.
scandals. Bring it
All
on.
the scandals.
What about you, Cardi?
Me, I've got a twofer, okay? Because I forgot we're actually commenting. We're actually on a video game TV show, so I'm
Yes.
just like maybe we should make this topical. I want Baka Mitai from
Okay.
Yakuza 0.
Yeah.
Why would you even want to ask?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
because there's actually a couple of other Yakuza games as well that actually have these on the cyber dams in Japan and over here, like Machine Gun Kiss, but no Baka Mitai. But for the other one in particular, there's a distinctive lack of John Farnham. And we really want You're the Voice. And we've been very vocal
We're all
about
someone's daughters, and we're all someone's sons.
Ugh, this is awful.
I'm sorry.
Megan.
It was a bit of a conflicting kind of just like, it's
Yeah.
from one extreme to the next, but that's how I am. I'm sorry,
confused.
guys.
I'm
All right,
conflicted.
the last one is, obviously, there's been a few announcements for games coming out. Astral Chain, Judgment,
Yep.
Mario Maker 2, Shenmue 3, Catherine. Like, Nintendo basically announced their roster. A lot of the other companies haven't. We haven't hit E3 yet. At this point in time, what's your most anticipated game for the year? You go first.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow, I know
pressure's
that.
on.
Pressure is on. So it's a very turbulent period, and when we normally use turbulent, it's not quite. I'm not trying to use it in a negative sense.
Yeah. Mhm.
Very positive sense of like, there's a lot of cool games coming out, especially if you like Japanese games. And later in the end of the year, all the Game of the Year bait's going to come out.
Yeah, yeah.
But one of them in particular, so I'm a big fan of the Zero Escape series.
Yep.
Spike Chun stuff's coming out swinging this year. AI, the Somnium File, so the guy behind the Zero Escape games. This is his new game in the series, and it's set to be absolutely bonkers. Looking forward to that.
When's it coming out?
July.
Okay,
So
awesome. Not far.
very soon,
Yeah.
very soon.
So me and you are actually in sync on this one.
Yes, when we crossed notes, I was very pleased.
I got to wrap it up, but what is that game? What is the game that we're both most anticipating this year?
Animal Crossing.
Yes,
I
100%.
cannot wait. When I saw the
100%.
reveal, I shed a tear, many tears, and I've got some really big hopes for it. I want massive multiplayer with
Yeah.
customization elements in the town and characters.
Yep.
I want to be having value for money when I pay for my Nintendo Online now. I really hope they have like a whole plethora of just
Well, they supported the 3DS one pretty well. Like they did that big
Right.
patch, the big expansion. The new
I think
home patch,
standards
so-
are extremely high, and fans out there are waiting for the drop, for the announcement, and they're going to be wanting everything at launch instead of that drip feed.
They could patch some
reveal.
things in as well. Like
Absolutely.
maybe
Live service is
patch
real.
in negative gearing and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
negative gearing, capital gain. Half
What if
your
they
game.
have microtransactions?
When Nook upgrades your property, you actually don't pay capital gains. It's fantastic. It's
Oh,
the
it's
baby boomer
lovely.
edition.
Oh.
Not getting political because we're not allowed to.
Yes.
Thank you very much, guys. That is our
Thanks,
mailbox
Chase.
segment. Feel free to send your mailbox. Come into our Discord, send us an email, whatever the case may be. And if we like your question, we might just send you a T-shirt.
Mortal Kombat 11 is at once the best fighting game NetherRealm have ever made, but also one of the most frustrating. And that's not having to do with the gameplay itself, because playing Mortal Kombat 11 is incredibly satisfying. It's the best evolution of NetherRealm's fighting system, with all the improvements they've made from the Injustice series now rolled into one big happy fighting game frenzy. You've got a great amount of, you've got a good set of characters, you've got really satisfying mechanics, the systems all work together in some really great ways. They've made the X-ray moves now a proper part of gameplay instead of being a cool thing you do maybe once or twice a fight. Like, they've done really cool things to make Mortal Kombat 11 feel really fun to play. But even the story mode itself as well is also just, it's top of the pops. It's NetherRealm being NetherRealm, so good job. But around that is just kind of a frustrating, grindy mess of a game where you've got progression systems tied almost entirely to online servers, which means that, hey, if you want to say this cool thing, you got to be online because it's got to all sync up. If you want to go do tutorial stuff, which is really good because it's really deep, you have to be online to sync progress. If you want to go play the big other single player mode, the Towers of Time, that's all online based, and all the rewards you get aren't particularly great. You have to play too much to get what is effectively a pittance. But that's kind of the weird thing, and that Mortal Kombat 11 has become this weird this weird kind of service-based fighting game, where the fact of the matter is, by the time we're recording this, the game could have changed by now. Like, they have gone out and patched the Towers of Time to be less grindy, to be less frustrating. And that's kind of the weird rub against Mortal Kombat 11, is that if you like NetherRealm's fighting games and you've always wanted to give MK a shot, this is the best version of it. But as far as kind of the other systems go, look, it's not really well thought out. It is a little bit frustrating, but hopefully by the time you're watching this, it won't be as bad as it is right now at launch.
And I've decided to bring Jamie onto the actual couch itself to discuss Mortal Kombat in a little bit more detail. Jamie, thank you for joining me.
No worries. Hi, I'm like Quan Chi because I'm bald, apparently.
What?
Quan Chi, you know, the character from the Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
Everyone loves Quan
I
Chi.
do
No one
know
loves
that.
Quan Chi.
Everyone does love Quan Chi's fine. Like he just wasn't a good Shang Tsung replacement. I guess so. You know, discussing your review itself, like you seem to enjoy the game. I found it a little bit slow and a little bit. I didn't enjoy the way that it flowed, but it seems like as far as a visual game, when you do find your flow, it's a much better game.
Oh yeah, like to me, it's as I said in the review, to me it is the best game NetherRealm have done. And NetherRealm make a very specific kind of fighting game, not in terms of the way it plays, but the way it feels. And it's always been the feeling part that's always maybe being hit or miss for a lot of people. Same with the mechanics, but I feel like this game is a nice blend between making a game that actually feels nice to play, and also has some mechanics that actually work. You know.
And it seems to be the big difference between, say, something like DOA and Mortal Kombat for a lot of the non-fighting game players seems to be the fact that Mortal Kombat's story is so overwhelmingly cohesive. You know what I mean?
They actually make a story mode. Like you look at every fighting game that does, like DOA, Marvel Capcom, Street Fighter, Tekken.
Yeah.
And Mortal Kombat is the only one that does a really good job of it, because I think they make a spectacle out of it. Like all the Japanese fighting games, so as great as a lot of those games are, they just feel like it's a tacked on thing.
Do you remember like backtracking through the Blaze Blue story, like having to do all the different?
That one was kind of the exception, because I feel like it's kind of a weird VN. That was fine. But you look at like Tekken story mode. Like I love Tekken. I think to me it's the best fighting game on the market right now.
Okay.
But I don't want to play it story mode.
Yeah, and that's and I guess that is the thing. And maybe that is the disappointment that comes with Mortal Kombat 11 is the fact that it seems that the complaints about the game don't necessarily center around the gameplay. Like it's got kind of two big kind of millstones around its neck at the moment. The big one, of course, is the crypt and the like really difficult. The amount of grinding required to do things without resorting to coins is huge.
I think that's kind of the weird thing, because they've actually gone on record to say, look, we're patching a lot of that. And I feel like at the same time, it's like, yeah, I mean, like, it's weird. It's like they've come across all this backlash, the fact that, you know, a lot of the game is a grind fest. Like the tower's time a bit of a grind. The crypt is all just kind of, it's all RNG. It's mostly RNG. Like, there are some predictable stuff, which in some cases is a benefit, but for a lot of people, it's just like, I just want to unlock the thing. I want to unlock, like, I don't play most of these characters. I just want I want a cool Katana skin because she's my girl. And
DOA had a bit of that issue too at the start before they patched it, funnily enough.
Exactly.
So maybe there's some kind of psychological science that we haven't seen.
And even then, like the patch stuff is really weird, because they've effectively got three or four different kind of strains. They've got the PC version, which is its own thing, the Switch version, which is its own thing, and the PS1 and Xbox One versions, which are their own thing, and they're all weirdly out of sync. And so they're making steps to improve that, obviously.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I think that there's like a weird psychology that says in the first 2 weeks, if you're going to do this kind of exploitative thing, you'll do your most sales in the first 2 weeks on it, and then after that it'll die off. So we might as well milk it for the first 2 weeks and then change it. But the problem you face is, and this was an issue we had in a Couch Warriors event the other week, an online-only hot patch that required you to stay online to access it. Like that is crazy.
Which is insane. It's like, well, why? I mean, look, you and I mean, you more so had plenty of experience in terms of setting up a tournament, streaming it. And you would know that fact of the matter is, like, you want to kind of eliminate as many...
Remove as many spinning plates as you can.
Trying to make it remove as many unpredictable elements, like an internet connection at a place which is going to have a lot of black spots and a lot of people using 4G. It's like...
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Luckily, it does wait until the round is over to spike here, so it's not as bad as it could be. It's still obviously not... I guess the other thing worth mentioning, social media. There's been a lot of furor in social media around NetherRealm's crunch practices. Ronda Rousey's run her mouth on some silly things.
Oh, well, that's just... Look,
yeah.
I just don't get Ronda Rousey. It's like, yeah, okay, she's a great MMA fighter, sure. She did a relatively successful WWE run, sure, whatever. But then you have someone who's like, she's said some really questionable stuff. It's like, do you really want that as the face of your game?
That's your legacy, yeah. And,
really?
Yeah, and Boone's always been a notorious troll, but to hear stuff about like the corporate culture there, whether substantiated or not, and that's obviously something that they've
And of course, crunch is obviously a much bigger topic for kind of the scope of our conversation.
Exactly,
but even still, it's like, it's not great. Like, it's like you want to buy this game. It's like you hear all these stories like these people literally just maybe have kind of killed themselves to make this game. It's like, is any game worth supporting for that matter? But it's, again, bigger topic for the scope of conversation.
And you got to remember as well that the other final part to that is that you got to remember that Injustice is probably the biggest selling fighting game in Australia that we've ever had. So that's something you may not have known about Injustice too. So on that note, thank you, Jamie, for joining me in discussing Mortal Kombat. What website can people go to watch more of our content?
Well, there's a little website you can watch called www.newgameplus.tv. It's a pretty cool website.
It is a pretty cool website. Thank you, Jamie. And don't forget to go to Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, New Game Plus TV, all one word. Thank you for joining us for another episode of New Game Plus, and we will see you next week.